Welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive. We're really glad you're here with us today.
Absolutely.
Whether you're, prepping for a busy day, taking a quiet walk, or just feeling that itch to learn something profoundly new, you are in the right place.
Yeah, we've got a really great one today.
We do. Today we're stepping away from the daily noise. We're looking at something incredibly serene, reflective, and honestly highly challenging in the best way possible. We are exploring a profound piece of spiritual wisdom, the teachings of Guru Amar Das Ji in Rag Bihagra.
It is such a beautiful piece of philosophy to sink our teeth into.
Yeah.
And just to set the stage for you listening, a rag in this tradition isn't just a musical scale.
Right, it's not just a melody.
Exactly. It's an entire emotional framework.
Yeah.
Rag Bihagra is traditionally sung late at night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it evokes this profound, almost aching sense of yearning and deep reflection.
That makes so much sense.
It really is the perfect backdrop for what we're looking at today, which is essentially a map of human consciousness.
I love that.
Our objective is to extract the timeless wisdom from these specific verses, to see how we navigate our own anxiety, our ego, and our ultimate pursuit of true liberation.
That musical context really changes how you approach the words, I think.
It does. It sets a completely different mood.
And the core theme running through this entire source material is this intense, almost jarring contrast between two distinct states of being.
Right.
On one side, you have what's called the foolish mind.
Which is such a striking term.
It really is, and it's not about intelligence at all, right? It's a mind entirely trapped in ego, stubbornness, and worldly chaos.
Yeah.
And on the other side, you have the Gurmukh, the one who faces toward the guru, aligns with the divine, and finds absolute, unshakable peace.
A total shift.
It's a journey from total exhaustion to complete serenity. Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we even begin with this concept of the foolish mind?
Well, we begin by looking at how this philosophy defines that foolishness.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, this has absolutely nothing to do with IQ. It's describing a state of profound spiritual stubbornness. The text opens with a shalok.
Oh.
And think of a shalok as a concentrated poetic couplet.
Like a thesis statement.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's meant to immediately challenge your perspective and set the theme. And in this opening shalok, Guru Amar Das Ji points out that if the mind has no faith and has not embraced a genuine love for the divine, then singing praises is essentially pointless.
Wow.
The individual is just going through the motions.
Hold on, let me push back on that for a second.
Sure.
If someone is an anxious, ego-driven mess,
Which a lot of us are.
right,
Yeah.
isn't going through the motions of prayer or meditation or even just sitting in silence better than doing nothing at all?
That's a modern view, yeah.
Like, isn't there a valid fake it till you make it argument to be made here? Why is this kind of mechanical worship condemned so harshly right out of the gate?
What's fascinating here is the absolute futility of mechanical worship when the ego is still in the driver's seat. What you're describing, that fake it till you make it approach, it often leads to what modern psychology calls spiritual bypassing.
Oh, spiritual bypassing.
Right. You're doing the right things outwardly, but inwardly, you're completely disconnected.
That makes sense.
The ego loves a checklist. It loves to say, I did my morning meditation, I sang the hymns, I am officially a good person.
Check, check, check.
Exactly.
Oh.
But the wisdom here warns that if the underlying love and that genuine connection are missing, you aren't actually transforming. You're just wearing a spiritual costume.
Okay, I have to admit, that hits close to home.
It does for everyone.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've sat down to do my little 10-minute mindfulness app, completely checking the box to keep my daily streak alive.
Got to keep the streak.
Exactly. And while I'm doing it, my brain is aggressively plotting how to win an argument I had 3 days ago.
Yep.
I'm technically meditating, but my mind is being incredibly stubborn.
That is the perfect modern example of the stubborn mind. You are physically present, but spiritually and mentally, you are entirely rigid.
Yeah.
Guru Amar Das Ji uses this vivid imagery. If you do not enjoy the sublime taste of the word, the Shabad,
It was the divine wisdom, right?
right, the ultimate truth,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't enjoy that, then what praises are you stubbornly singing? It's a hollow performance.
And the downstream effects of this rigid state are laid out so clearly in the text.
They really are.
There's this very uncomfortable symptom described. It says, the fool does not understand their own self And because of that lack of self-awareness, they actually annoy others with their speech.
Yes.
We all know someone like this, right? Or we've been that person.
Usually both.
Someone who is so disconnected from their own internal reality that every interaction just rubs people the wrong way. They project their internal chaos outward.
Exactly, because their underlying nature remains completely unchanged.
Underlying nature.
This is a vital concept. We often try to change our circumstances without changing our underlying nature, our deepest habits, our egoic reflexes.
Right, we want the quick fix.
The philosophy here suggests that even if this person approaches the door of the true guru, if they bring that same deeply ingrained habit of acting out of ego, they will remain separated from the divine.
So the door's open, but they can't walk through it.
Because they suffer cruel blows, which we can interpret as the painful cyclical patterns of life.
Right.
We bump into the same walls, ruin the same relationships, and suffer the same anxieties because we stubbornly refuse to alter our underlying nature.
We want the whole world to accommodate us, rather than doing the hard work of reforming ourselves.
Precisely.
And the material notes that reforming yourself requires doing so through the fear of the true guru to eventually merge into the lap of God.
Yes.
Now, we should probably clarify that fear in this context usually means a profound reverence or awe, right? Not like cowering in a corner.
Precisely. It's an awe that shatters your arrogance.
Oh, I like that.
It's the sudden realization of how small your ego actually is in the grand scheme of things.
Which perfectly transitions into the next major theme of our sources.
The exhaustion.
Yes. The sheer crushing exhaustion of living a life driven by that unyielding ego.
It's brutal.
There's a picture painted of a mind that is just entirely overpowered. It lists sexual desire, anger, and greed as forces so powerful within this person that they pass their entire life constantly entangled in worldly affairs.
It's the ultimate treadmill.
A treadmill you can't get off.
When your primary driving forces are desire, anger, and greed, there is no finish line. You're constantly reacting, grasping, defending your territory.
Constantly on edge.
The individual is described as being plagued by doubts night and day. There is never a moment of genuine rest.
Right.
Without the Shabad, without that spiritual anchor, they just suffer continuously.
Let's pause on the physical description of this burnout because it is so visceral.
It really is.
The translation reads, his feet, hands, eyes, and ears are exhausted, his days are numbered, and his death is imminent.
Yeah.
That was written centuries ago, but it is the most accurate description of modern burnout I have ever heard.
Exhaustion of the eyes and ears.
Yes. That is exactly what it feels like to doom scroll on your phone at 2 in the morning.
Total sensory overload.
You are looking, listening, grasping, and running until you are completely depleted.
It's a timeless diagnosis of human frailty. We exhaust our senses chasing things that cannot fulfill us.
Wow.
We squander the finite energy we've been given on worldly affairs, completely ignoring the reality that our time is slipping away. Our days are numbered.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because logic dictates that a person this utterly exhausted would desperately want a cure.
You would think so.
They would be begging for a way out, and the ultimate cure is presented as the true name, the source of the 9 treasures.
Right.
And just to clarify for you listening, the 9 treasures in this context essentially means the ultimate spiritual jackpot. It represents total wholeness, abundance, and profound peace.
The highest state.
But there is a massive paradox. To this exhausted, foolish mind, the true name does not even seem sweet. It tastes bitter.
Yes.
Why on earth would the ego reject the very thing that could save it?
Because the ego is an incredibly sophisticated survival mechanism.
Oh.
What we are seeing here is egoic preservation. The ego recognizes that the true name, this ultimate spiritual wholeness, requires complete surrender.
Ah, I see.
To accept the cure means the ego itself has to step down from the throne, so it rejects the medicine.
It fights back.
When a person's palate is entirely conditioned by the sharp, intense flavors of anger, greed, and worldly trauma, the pure, serene taste of the true name seems bland or even repulsive.
That's incredible.
The disease convinces the patient that the cure is the enemy.
The disease protecting itself. That is a wild concept to wrap your head around. It's cognitive dissonance on a spiritual level.
Exactly.
So if mechanical worship is a dead end and chasing worldly desires just leaves our hands, feet, eyes, and ears totally exhausted.
What's the way out?
Right. What is the actual way out? The philosophy doesn't leave us stranded. It offers a very specific, though highly provocative solution.
It does.
It states that liberation is attained when a person remains dead while yet alive.
Dead while alive.
Dead while alive.
This raises an important question. What exactly does it mean to die while alive?
Right, because it's not literal.
No, we have to be clear that this is not about physical death, nor is it about becoming a numb, emotionless zombie who doesn't participate in life.
Okay.
It's the death of self-conceit. It is the ultimate ego death. You're walking, talking, and interacting in the world, but the arrogant...
The demanding voice?
Yes, that demanding, greedy, easily offended part of you has been put to rest.
It's actively breaking down the old self to make room for something fundamentally new. You empty the cup.
Exactly.
And it explicitly says, he alone finds the true guru who eliminates self-conceit from within.
There is no loophole.
None. You cannot hold on to your stubborn mind and find the true guru at the same time. You have to actively participate in your own ego's funeral every single day.
And that requires a monumental level of vulnerability. You are choosing to let go of the very armor you have worn your entire life.
That is terrifying for the ego.
But when you do, when you finally allow that self-conceit to die, the transition is miraculous.
Which brings us to the final section of the material. And this shifts into a structural form called a paio.
Yes?
Now, a paio literally translates to a step or a rung on a ladder, right?
Oh, that's right.
So the very structure of the poetry is elevating the narrative. We are stepping up and out of the exhaustion.
The tone completely changes here.
It does. We leave behind the anxious, worldly mind, and we get this radiant vision of the Gurmukh, the one who has aligned with the divine.
The contrast is intentionally jarring. You are moving from the dark, chaotic trench of the stubborn mind up that ladder into a state of absolute serenity. The paio is a glimpse into the destination.
The opening promise of this section just dissolves all the previous tension. It reads, "One whose consciousness is filled with my Lord Master, why should he feel anxious about anything?"
Just let that sink in.
Why should you feel anxious about anything? We spent the first half of this discussion looking at a mind plagued by doubts night and day. And here, the anxiety is entirely eradicated.
Because the root cause of the anxiety,
the ego,
right, the fragile, demanding ego has been replaced. When your consciousness is filled with the divine, which the text calls the giver of peace, your internal reality is anchored in something unshakable.
It's solid ground.
The external, chaotic, worldly affairs might still be happening around you, but they lose their grip on your internal state. You're no longer reacting. You are observing from a place of profound comfort.
And there is a highly practical, actionable step given to maintain this elevated state.
Yes, this is crucial.
It doesn't tell you to run away to a cave and isolate yourself. It prescribes community. It says, let us go each and every day to sit in the saints' society.
The Sanghat.
The Sanghat. The holy congregation.
The Sanghat is positioned as the ultimate antidote to worldly bonds. It is very difficult to maintain this state of dying while alive in a vacuum.
Because the ego sneaks back in.
The ego thrives in isolation because it controls the narrative in your head. But when you sit in the society of those who are also seeking truth, you break that echo chamber.
You have a mirror.
You create an environment of collective spiritual elevation. The Sanghat reinforces the truth and helps recalibrate your mind when you inevitably drift.
The results of immersing yourself in that Sanghat are laid out like a list of absolute miracles.
They are.
It promises that all the pain, hunger, and disease of the Lord's servant are eradicated. The bonds of the humble beings are torn away.
Incredible.
So that intense sensory burnout we talked about earlier, the exhaustion of the hands, feet, eyes, and ears, it is completely healed in this communal space. The heavy chains of constant worldly entanglement just snap.
It's a beautiful promise of restoration.
Yeah.
But, and this is a massive but in the context of this philosophy, it is vital to note that this liberation is not framed as a personal trophy.
Right.
You don't get to stand at the top of the paio, flex your spiritual muscles and say, look at how hard I worked to kill my ego.
Which would just be more ego.
Exactly. The text introduces the concept that radically humbles the entire process.
Yes, and this is where I really struggle because it brings up the classic tension between free will and determinism.
It's a deep tension.
The material points to an unseen force. It talks about preordained karma. The specific question asked is, if he is not blessed with such preordained karma, then without this karma, what can he obtain?
Right.
So wait, if it is all preordained, why do I even try? Why go to the Sanghat or try to kill my ego if the outcome is already written by karma or grace?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it forces us to grapple with a profound paradox. Liberation isn't merely a transaction where you put in 10 coins of effort and receive 1 unit of enlightenment.
It's not a vending machine.
No, it's deeply intertwined with divine grace. The text explicitly states, by the Lord's grace, one becomes the Lord's devotee.
So our effort doesn't matter?
No, the effort absolutely matters. You must put in the effort to clear the path, to actively sit in the Sangat, to genuinely try and let go of your self-conceit.
Okay.
But you cannot force the final transformation. The actual merging into the divine is an act of grace. It is the universe meeting you halfway.
It's a partnership.
The concept of preordained karma and grace removes the very last vestige of the spiritual ego. The pride of thinking, I achieved my own salvation. You prepare the soil, but you do not command the rain.
You prepare the soil, but you do not command the rain. That is a massive release of pressure.
It really is.
You do the hard work of breaking your underlying nature, but you have to trust the grace for the final leap.
Yes.
And the incredible thing about this grace is that it is entirely contagious. The text ends on this breathtaking image of a ripple effect.
I love this part.
It says that by simply beholding the face of the Lord's humble devotee, the one who is transformed by grace, the whole world is saved and carried across.
The presence of a truly liberated person, a Gurmukh, becomes a sanctuary for everyone they interact with.
They radiate it.
Their lack of ego creates space for others to breathe and heal. They become a mirror reflecting that divine grace back out into the world. It proves that true spiritual liberation is never a selfish endeavor. It always culminates in the uplifting of the entire collective.
So what does this all mean? When we weave all these heavy, profound threads together, we see that true peace is this incredibly delicate dance.
It is a dance.
It requires the heavy, conscious effort on our part to stop acting stubbornly, to recognize when we are spiritually bypassing through mechanical rituals, and to actively break down our own arrogant ego.
Yes.
And at the exact same time, it requires total surrender to the fact that we need divine grace to actually pull us across the finish line.
We have journeyed through a remarkable map of the human condition today.
We really have.
We started in the dark trenches with the anxious, foolish mind, the mind that is running on the treadmill of worldly affairs until its very eyes and ears are completely depleted.
Exhausted.
We examined the difficult, ego-shattering medicine of dying while alive, and we climbed that ladder, that paio, into the absolute, unshakable serenity of the saint society, where bonds are broken not by our own might, but by grace.
It is a journey that asks us to be deeply, sometimes uncomfortably honest with ourselves.
Yes, it demands honesty.
If you are listening to this and feeling that profound exhaustion, if your mind is racing and your senses feel totally depleted by the constant demands and anxieties of the world, this ancient wisdom is speaking directly to you right now.
It is.
It's a reminder that faking it or relying on mechanical actions without inner truth will only ever lead to more burnout.
Yeah.
But actively letting go of that self-conceit opens the door to a peace where anxiety simply cannot survive.
The teachings of Guru Amar Das Ji remind us that the change must happen at the deepest root. You cannot just change the window dressing of your life. You have to reform your underlying nature.
Foundation.
And that requires courage, it requires the support of community, and it requires a radical openness to grace.
Which leaves us with a thought to carry forward into the rest of your day. We've talked extensively about the absolute necessity of breaking our underlying nature and the paradox of achieving true liberation by dying while alive. So as you step back into the flow of your life, maybe as you finish your commute or head into your next meeting, ask yourself this. What specific part of your own underlying nature, perhaps a deeply stubborn habit you refuse to let go of, or a hidden ego-driven need to always be right, must you willingly put to death today so that you can truly start living without anxiety?
A powerful and necessary question to sit with.
Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and take care of yourself.